Hey everybody, we are going to look at how to make some charts using SPSS now. So the data that we're using is from the previous video where we took the information from the flankers tests and we created new variables for accuracy, a screened response time, the direction, and congruency of the arrows. So what we want to do now is create charts showing this information. So up here we have this option Graphs, and under that we have Chart Builder. If we click on that, we're going to have lots of different kinds of charts we can make. What we're going to look at is this one here that has the blue bars and the green bars. We can drag that up here, and then we're going to see this little interface. We can drag in our variables to these different spots, and it'll create charts for us. So what we're measuring is the response time. We don't want to include the negative numbers, so we're going to use the screened response time. We're going to drag that into our y-axis. Now, in terms of organizing these, we might make them right or left based on direction on the x-axis. And then we can make them congruent or incongruent in terms of which one is blue, which one is red in these bars here. You can drag that up here. Now, this image might look different for you than it does for me. It might even have like 3 bars, a blue one, a red one, and a green one. That's fine. This isn't actually a preview of what your chart's going to look like. It's just an image showing more or less what these charts look like. One thing that I don't like is that the right is on the left and the left is on the right. So let's click on this x-axis 1. And we can see down here we have an option for order. Let's put right down 1. And then we'll have left and right like that. Also, I don't know if it's just my upbringing, but I associate red with correct, or red with incorrect and blue with correct. So I'm going to do it that way as well for the congruency. Now, once we have all of that done, we can click on OK. It's going to open this. And this time we do care about what's happening here because that's where our chart is going to be generated. We can scroll down. You can see we've got the left images here, the right ones here. The incongruent images are red, the congruent ones are blue. We can see their response time. So, like we thought it should be, the response time takes longer if the image is incongruent compared to whether it's congruent. And we can also see that the differences between left and right are pretty minimal. They seem to follow the same patterns, which is what we would expect to see. Now, the next thing we can do is create a chart to show were the incongruent images more likely to generate inaccurate responses. So to do that, let's click back here again, Graphs and Chart Builder. So maybe for this one, we can use a simple bar chart. I'll drag that up here. And instead of direction, let's have congruence, or no, let's have accuracy here. Actually, let's do that with this one again. So, all right, we'll have accuracy here, and we'll have congruency up here. And this time, if we leave the y-axis blank, it's going to count. So it's just going to say what number there were of accurate or inaccurate responses. So let's click OK. And yes, exactly, that's what we would expect to see. So, in terms of the incorrect ones, there weren't very many incorrect ones, but there were more that were incongruent and incorrect. I probably should have made those the same color as the previous ones. But okay, you get the idea though. That were incongruent and incorrect. There were more that were congruent and correct, which again is what we'd expect to see, just because it's more difficult to identify those. Now, finally, we're going to look at how to compare means on a table instead of using the chart. To do that, we can come up here to Analyze. And under Analyze, we have the option Compare Means, and we can click on Means. And this is going to pull up a box like this. So we want our dependent variable in the dependent list. For that, we're going to use the screened response time again. And then for our independent list, we want to know how did congruency affect the response time. Also, we can see how did direction affect the response time. Let's put both of those down there and click OK. And that's going to create a couple of tables for us. One that shows the mean response times for incongruent and congruent images, one that shows the mean response time for left and right-facing arrowed images. So we see that the incongruent response time was indeed significant. Well, let's not get into significance, but it was longer than it was for the congruent ones, and there's not much of a difference for the left and right-facing ones. One more thing we can do while we're looking at these, again, let's compare means. Click on Analyze, Compare Means, Means, and Reset. So that one gave us two charts, one with direction and one with congruency. We can also put that all in one chart showing both. So let's drag response time screened into the dependent list. Let's put direction in this first layer of the dependent. Now instead of dragging in congruency here, let's click Next and drag in congruency into layer 2. Now let's click OK. It's going to pull up a chart like this so we can see what they are for right incongruent ones, right congruent ones, left incongruent, and left congruent, like that, all in one chart instead of having different charts for left and right. And it's factoring them together. Yeah, there's that. I think that's everything that we did in that lesson, and also some things that he asked us to try doing on our own. I'm hoping this is helpful for everybody. If it is, fantastic. If it's not, feel free to let me know, and I'll not do it. But I do hope that it is helpful for everybody, and I look forward to seeing you in class next week. Take care.